AMP emails are used to create dynamic emails, and they also allow you to use AMP components in the emails that you create. They are also very versatile, and they allow for the email format to expand beyond the static 90s thing we have right now, that we have to add tables and inline styles. With AMP, you can use normal CSS styles. Right here, see, I have the heading with a margin of 1 rem instead of having to do style and then the rest of my styles in line of the tag. You can use so many other styles, and it is so cool. You can also have dynamic content. For example, if we have a company, a client who sells trucks, and they decide to send the newest trucks to their users, and they decide to run a sale on one of the trucks. When the user opens the email, they will see the sale price instead of the initial price when the email was sent. So this allows emails to be dynamic. Let me show you an email I got from an e-shop that sells luggages and products for traveling. They're running a sale right now that says that the first 100 people who buys the luggage will get a free fanny pack. And that's pretty cool, but this information is static. What they could have done is, if they had an AMP email, to say here in bold letters how many people have already taken the deal and how many people are left. So, for example, I don't want to go ahead and try to purchase the luggage if I know that the sale has already expired because the 100 people have already claimed the sale. And let's look at this AMP email that has a slider. This is impossible to do with ordinary email stuff. And see how it slides just like a web page. It's pretty cool. I know what you're thinking. Stephanie, aren't emails supposed to be static and web pages supposed to be dynamic? And when am I ever going to use a dynamic email for? Well, the company Oyo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, IYO, they try to sell rooms for travelers. No, not sell, but to book a room when you're traveling. Well, they have the last up-to-date rating appear every time they send travelers rooms. So, for example, if the room had 4 stars rating, by the time they open the email, if a lot of people have previewed the room and it has 5-star rating, then that's easier for the client to book a room. Also, the company Doodle, they send polls to people, and they have found out that whenever they send a poll with AMP HTML, they can allow the users to fill in the poll instead of redirecting them to another page. And you might be saying, well, what's the big deal? People will just click the button to go to the page to answer the poll. Well, it is much more harder, and they had over 50% more poll takers than using the old way, which is to click a link, go to the page, and some websites even ask you to log in again even though you click the link in your email. So this will prevent people from answering the poll, because people probably say, oh, I'll do that later, and then they never do it. The other concern people have with AMP HTML is that it allows JavaScript, and they think that's dangerous. And this is correct. Allowing JavaScript in emails is correct. However, this is not what AMP does with JavaScript, okay? With AMP email, you can only allow and use whitelisted AMP components, okay? So you can use like AMP carousel or AMP list, but you cannot use any third-party JavaScript. Like, you cannot include the whole jQuery library in your email. And even if an evil person hacks Google HQ and their boilerplate JavaScript, the version 0 that you include on all of your AMP projects, even if they hack it and they filled it with malicious JavaScript content, this will still not affect your emails, because the email providers will simply not display the email, since the email providers have defense in that sort of thing. So they're perfectly safe, and they give you much more control over your emails without you having to worry about hacking the user's computer.